Okay, so Marianne Miller is the author of the book that we read for this month. It's called Cracks Beneath the Surface. It's her second book of the series that we read the first one already, and I don't know, Carolyn, were you here the first meeting?
Yes.
Okay, Debbie, you did not meet the author previously.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so
I
Marianne, if you could do a little recap of how you got into writing, and then we'll get started. Okay?
Some days I remember and some days I don't remember. Sadly, my Medicare card came in the mail the other day. That was like a real eye opener. No, I have always been a reader, since, Nancy Drew Hardy Boys series, and then went to school, got married, had 3 kids. I just continued to read. And then somewhere around, I think when my youngest went to high school, it finally occurred to me, what am I going to do next? Because they're going to be out of the house. And so I thought, well, what do I like to do? And so I like to read. So that is when I first started playing with the idea of maybe I can write something. We'll see. And it's a very long process. You don't become a writer overnight. I have a bunch of, really crappy novels just sitting collecting dust, and they will never see the light of day, nor should they ever see the light of day. Um, it takes a long time to learn, all the pieces and parts and how they fit together. That took me probably close to 10 years before I felt confident enough to, start sending out and asking and having, people other than my sister, read my novels. Um, Families will always be kind, but my sister's always quite truthful too. So, she's a good person to read. Um, and so then I finished a couple. I sent out to like a professional editor to see if
if
it
it
was
was
any
any.
good. Exactly, if it was any good. And I got a lot of feedback back, and I made some changes and adjustments, and sent it out again. And finally, I got an agent in July of 2021. We were just coming out of COVID. Um, and then I got a contract with Ocean View February of 2022. So then Bones Under the Ice was published March of 2023, and then Cracks was just released about 2 months ago. And that's where I'm at today. And I don't have anything coming out in 2025, which I'm kind of glad. I'm a little tired. I need to regroup and recharge my batteries and, see what's next on the horizon. So that's where I'm at right now.
So I just want to start out then. So was Cracks Beneath the Surface already formulated in your mind before the other one, Bones Under the Ice was published?
Yes, 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 yes. I in fact had most of Cracks written before Bones was even published. Because at some point you got to move on to the next project. Okay, you have to stop tinkering with it. You have to put it away, move on to the next project. So I finished Cracks, and then I have moved on to the third one. And I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. I'm going to take off about a month or so here for the holidays, and then I'll get back to it. But yeah, and I've already got the fourth one in my head, kind of. So you're kind of always in a process. You're promoting a book, you're writing a book, and you're always thinking about what's coming down the line. Sometimes my brain just feels like it's gonna explode. I say, you know.
Is the next book with the same main characters?
Yes, I'm hoping to do a series here. The publisher is Ocean View, and they are out of Tampa, Florida. I live in Orlando, and they have my contract was for the first 2 books, and so they have right of first refusal on the third book. So I have to write it, and then they have to see if they want to offer me a contract for it. So I think that'll be a fairly long process. I think we'll probably get that done sometime in 2025. And as of right now, I'm certain that all of the publishing spots in 2025 are already filled. So even if we got a contract tomorrow, it would be 2026 before book 3 would come out. Publishing is, it's a long road. It's, 12 to 18 months down the road from when you actually, sign it to when it actually, hits the bookshelves. It's a long road.
So I just wanted to get clarify that. So, even if it was ready, they wouldn't have published it in 2025?
Oh, no, because I don't have a contract with them, number one, but all of your publishing, there's only so many publishing slots in, and the number of slots keeps getting smaller and smaller because the number of printers keeps getting smaller and smaller because everybody's making the shift to digital and to ebooks. And so those printing slots go to James Patterson and Nora Roberts and the big names. They get them first. And so people as tiny as myself, we're pretty much at the bottom of the pile here. So yeah, I don't think we would have had to have had it done by about the middle of 2024 to get a 2025 slot. And since we just had Cracks coming out in October 2024, there was no way to get onto 2025. So it'll be sometime 2026. Fingers crossed.
So you mentioned about the big players. Okay, this can't be your only source of income then?
No. This is not a source of income. There is no. No, we are retired. Sadly, my husband has had a stroke, and so he is on disability. So my full-time job is his full-time caregiver. So writing is actually kind of fits in pretty easy because he sits around a lot. He can't do a whole lot anymore. So I have a lot of time to go ahead and write. But no, we could not live off of this income. No, I think my last royalty checks was $87.23. Exactly. We are not going to make money at writing. But that's not my goal either. You don't write because you're going to get rich. If you do, it'll never work. You write because you want to tell the stories in your head.
It's a passion for you.
It is. And I come in my office pretty much every single day and write something or read something or, um, something. I'm always doing something. And sometimes I find myself, I'm at, the Target and I forget why I was there, or the grocery store. Why did I come here? Because I was thinking about something else as I was driving, We've all done that before.
Yeah,
Don't have to be a writer to do that, huh?
true.
I'm trying to think. Johnny's a total figment of your imagination. It's not based on anybody that. Okay.
Nope. I made her almost the exact opposite of me. I am 5 feet tall. I realize you can't tell that because I'm sitting down. Okay. So I made her like 5'10" because I always wanted to be taller. I still want to be taller. Okay. I still have to sometimes get my little step stool out that the kids got me and, to get the stuff on the top shelf in the kitchen. It's just so annoying to be short. So I made her tall. I gave her long hair. I've always had short hair. I think maybe down the road she might be needing some reading glasses or something like that. I'm going to try and age her in appropriate ways. Reading glasses to me, they're right around the corner here, sadly. They're on my desk, really, but so I'll try and age her. And her hair is just starting to go gray. I am practically entirely white at this point, so I tried not to make her physically like myself. I'm certain that people that read it and who know me will find some traits that are similar. Standing up for the little guy. I have one of her hobbies is playing the cello. I played violin, unless you're a professional musician, you're not going to know the difference between anything that I say in there. So yeah, there's some similarities and there's some, you know, really big differences.
One of the things that's interesting about the character is that she is kind of opposites. I mean, she, being a musician is now her hobby, but she used to actually play with an orchestra, and that seems to be like the opposite of being a sheriff.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm in the back of my head. I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'm going to have some kind of incident at the police academy that kind of trips her trigger. I haven't really figured it out yet. But part of her backstory is that she did get pregnant while in college, and the father is a well-known violinist. No one would, you know, I gave him a fake name and everything. And he does come back in little bit in book 2, but definitely there's actually, I believe, a meeting that I've got set up. He comes to a concert down in Carmel, Indiana. I don't know if you've ever been to the Palladium in Carmel, Indiana. I picked it because my daughter sang there, so I know I have been to this theater. So they're going to have not really a come to Jesus meeting, but they're going to meet in book 3. He's the biological father's going to be in, you know, town for the being a concert violinist, and the daughter's going to want to go meet and asks Johnny to go with her, and then they're going to go out and have dinner or drinks or whatever afterwards, and it's going to be a fairly explosive scene at the restaurant. That's kind of what I have in my head. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
I
That's where
have
that
to
one goes.
say, that's the storyline that, I mean, the book is very interesting and you have a lot of twists and turns, and I always enjoy mysteries that have a lot of suspects. But the storyline that I kind of wanted to see developed a little faster was the storyline with her daughter, Randy.
Well, it takes off in book 3. It takes off in book 3. Let's see. Book 3 is right around end of May, so it's high school graduation, and her daughter teaches calculus at the high school level. And so the first one of the early scenes is going to be they're going to play at graduation, the two of them together.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, and then there will be a concert over the summer, and you know, so yeah, I am going to move that one along a little bit more quickly.
Yeah. The story of let's see, the family that it's so convoluted how they turn on each other. I mean, like, oh my God, this one's killing this one, that one's with this. Is okay. This was not from something that you are familiar with, I hope.
Not really. The germ of the idea came way back a million years ago. I was, you know, raised in a small town, and when I was a kid growing up, there were cows down at the end of the street. Okay, that's how rural we were. You know, there were cows down at the end of the street. My parents both were raised as farmers, and so. But at one time, there was a woman who owned a restaurant, a little deli diner type thing, and she died at a young age. I want to say like 50, 52, 53. And within a year, her husband had sold the diner and remarried. And I thought, what did you have going on before this even started? Were you cheating all this time? You know, that kind of a thing. And so that was kind of the seed of it, you know, the woman in the diner is like, there's got to be more here. And then you get into a small town and, you know, things are just secret upon secret upon secret. Yeah. It was fun creating that family, I must admit.
And all that cash.
Oh, I know. Wasn't that the that I don't even remember how I remember that, but I actually do have a milk tin, you know, a painted milk tin in my house. Okay. And I don't know what it was. It just tripped my trigger one time. And I thought, we need to hide a bucket of cash. Well, we can't do it in one. Oh, really? That was, I felt like a great big light bulb went off in my head when I thought of that one. That was like, whoo, yeah. Patted myself on the back for that one.
Well, they said about how I don't know how much she was skimming off the top, it wasn't a lot of money every week, right?
The daughter, or the mother, well, not reporting to the IRS. You know, they were both kind of, the cash only business. There's not a lot of them left. When I went back up to visit, over the summer, one of the few remaining places that took cash only sold out, and now it's a Culver's. I don't know if you guys have Culver's in New York or whatever, but it's a local. They're out of Wisconsin. They're down here in Florida now too. But yeah, that was one of the few places that actually took cash. I can't even think of any place anymore that takes cash. I don't even carry cash anymore. So I don't think you could get away with it today. Really and truly.
Uh-huh.
You know.
It is true. Like we have people, that we're a library and collecting fines, and the fines are small, and some people don't have any cash, so after $5 they can pay by credit card, and but everyone wants to come in and like they'll make a photocopy. Can we do that on a card? Venmo, or Apple Pay or something, and you're talking about 25-cent copy. No one carries
Exactly.
cash anymore.
Exactly, have them buy a photo, a copy card for the library or something. Yeah, I really, I don't have any change. I don't even carry cash anymore. And my kids don't either. They look at me like I'm crazy, but I haven't paid anything for cash. I don't even buy my Diet Coke at McDonald's with cash, It's just, I use the app. I'm terrible.
But that is the way of all the young people. And I know that I'm an old-fashioned person, so I'm a cash person, and I do have, credit cards, but they're doing everything, Apple Pay, Venmo, whatever, Zelle. I don't even know all these things. I can't keep
Everything.
track of them all.
No, like I mentioned, my husband is handicapped, and so he's going to need an electric scooter. And so our car is, it's a 2015 Ford Escape. And so I got to thinking, I don't want to put an electric scooter that weighs 1,000 pounds on the back of a 10-year-old car. So we went and we bought a new car. I can start my car from the app on my phone. Really? Really? And if you forget to lock it, it beeps at you. My phone beeps at me because I didn't lock the car. I'm a little bit annoyed by it, but I will get used to it. Really.
So is there romance in her future? It seems like something may be developing between her and Vern.
Yes, 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 yes. Great question. You're not the first person to ask that question too. Yes, I do plan on a romance between the two of them. He's a couple years older. I can't remember if I have him at 54 or 56, doesn't matter. She's 52. I don't think I don't remember if I've given you his backstory or not, but he was married. His wife died in if you don't live in the Midwest, you might not understand, but there are many, many small, tiny bridges that go over little creeks and everything. But if you hit a tornado, that creek is no longer a creek, it's a raging river. And in the backstory, she attempts to cross it, the bridge washes out, and she drowns in her car, down the river type thing. And Vern kind of goes into hibernation for many, many years. And so he's just going to start coming out of his shell, and I'm going to have Johnny start coming out of her shell. And I'm thinking that their first date is going to be skeet shooting. What do you think of that? Skeet shooting, okay? Those little clay pigeons that they shoot, I'm thinking that's kind of an appropriate first date. We'll see. But yes, you are right. I am going to put something there, but we'll advance that line too.
She's pretty unique, I think, well, I guess maybe all the years that she's been in the force, she's an older character. And then, you know, a lot of times you're reading these books, they're in their 30s, they're very young, and they're worlds of experience, experts in something. So, yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, I kind of like the more mature. There aren't a whole lot of mature female protagonists out there, okay? They're all young, you know, even if you watch on TV and you look at you know, NCIS or FBI or whatever shows are out there. I don't really watch them. They're all young people. They're all in their early 30s. And our population is older, okay? Our population is older, and I really think that the older population would like a character that they can relate to, okay? And that's kind of why I went with someone in her early 50s. Because by 60, you're thinking retirement, but early 50s, you're still pretty active. At least I was.
Well, you're right to think that. I mean, look at the success of that new show with Kathy Bates, Matlock.
Just love that.
And
Matlock.
she's in her, I don't know, 60s or 70s.
And then what's the one? It's in British BritBox. Judi Dench and Maggie Smith. I can't think of it right now, but again, they're well, Maggie Smith has now passed away, but they're late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
I think I saw Judi Dench just turned 90 or something like that, and she's still acting. Well, we should have that represented in our books too, you know? I really think that we need some older, more mature characters like me.
But now, okay, this is a small town. I mean, if it wasn't a small town, she would probably have so much competition, that she would kind of be forced out, I would say.
Very true, very true. I read an article the other day that somebody asked the question, is there a mandatory retirement age for police officers? And that, of course, it's either a state or a local thing, but most officers by about 55 will begin getting retirement packages offered to them to retire because they're at the top end of the pay scale, but their skills are much less. Okay, your reaction time is slower. You're much more likely to be on desk duty. Do you want to pay this cop who's making $150,000 a year sitting behind a desk? You know, so a lot of them, and some of them literally did have retirement ages. You know, you have to be retired 1 month after you turn 65. It's all depends upon state and local, but there are a lot that have mandatory retirement ages, and they start as early as 55. So yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because you start out that she was like kind of recovering from a wound, right? That she was not 100% physically.
Yes, yes, yes. In cracks, because she got shot at the end of Bones Under the Ice, she was still doing physical therapy. And I can only relate to physical therapy because I have to take my husband every single day. So I know enough physical therapy now to write about it. But yeah, she was still recovering from physical therapy from the wound that she got at the end of book one. So yeah, and it does, you know, we all know it just everything takes longer to heal the older you get. It's annoying, really.
Sure. At the end of the second book, you said that, or someplace, you said that they could be read out of order, but now isn't that contradictory a little bit?
But you don't have to read number one to get number two, but by the time we get to number three, you probably should start reading them in order. The first two you can probably go either way because you remember enough of both of them. But as the series progresses, you know, yeah, by about book 3 or 4, you might want to start at the beginning. Fingers crossed. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in this world?
Well, I particularly like that there is a distinctive end. Okay, because a lot of the not, because I also read young adult or teen novels and stuff, and they're very, very into series, and they sometimes the last chapter ends as saying, like it's going to continue on, and it never comes to resolution. I find that kind of annoying.
I kind of do too. I just finished reading, did you read The Housemaid? Did any of you read, let's see. Okay. Two.
The McFadden books. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just finished number 3 a couple hours ago. I live in Florida and it's 80 degrees, okay? So I was sitting out by the pool reading. But I just finished these 3 here this week. You can read those 3 out of order and be okay. It's easier if you don't. Serious, they can go either way. They can go either way. Like Louise Penny. Have any of you read Louise Penny? Love her books. She's a Canadian author. Her character is Armand Gamache. I started at the first book and I think she's on book 19, and I literally read them one right after another. They were just fabulous. They were just fabulous. You can read those out of order, but it's so much better if you read them in sequence. So I suppose it just sort of depends upon the author and the book.
That's funny because a lot of libraries are being forced now. We're limited space, and sometimes there's but a whole thing. Do we keep every single book in a series? But if the series is no longer popular, we can interloan them from someplace else. We're sharing. So, we have been forced to get rid of something. But like you've probably heard of Sue Grafton, like there's A is for this, and that would be very hard if you started to get rid of certain letters of the alphabet.
Exactly. You need to start with A is for alibi. Okay. You really do. Okay. And then she didn't quite finish. What did she get to? S, maybe T before she passed away?
I think she got a little farther than that, maybe X. I have to go back. But her family has said that they will not, even if there's a manuscript, they're not going to fix it.
Oh, no, they're going to leave it where it ended. Yeah, the family, I did read that. The family's going to leave it. And I'm kind of glad about that. Because that happened with The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. He had outlined like the first 10 books. He wrote the first 3 and then he passed away. Book 4, his wife tried to write. Awful. Absolutely awful. So then the family hired someone to write book 5. Better, but not much. And at that point, I gave up. I didn't read book 6. Okay. Which is a shame because I really like books 1, 2, and 3. I'm not planning on dying.
Okay. Well, or not have that many plots, because like right now there's a whole bunch of authors that, Tom Clancy, they all come out as Tom Clancy something. He has not written a single one of them. I think Stuart Woods, all these people they're just globbing on to that name, and then
Exactly. They've got either ghost writers or they're writing with someone. Like Lee Child is now writing with his son, and I'm okay with that. Somebody else is writing with their Nelson DeMille.
Kellerman writes, I think it's a wife, a husband, and a son.
Yeah. Hillerman's, yes. Nelson DeMille, who just recently passed a month or so ago. His son, I believe, wrote the last book with him. I read that one too a couple weeks ago. And they have another one that they had written together that'll be out next year. I'm kind of okay with that, because they've grown up with their parental influence, and maybe there is something genetic to writing. I don't know. But I'm kind of okay with the son or the daughter.
What do you think about AI? I just saw a play called McNeil, and it was about an author and the whole controversy around AI now being able to write in a particular author's style.
AI is like wreaking havoc upon the writing community. What is happening is that AI is basically pirating books. Okay, they're taking. I'm not a well-known author, but I found both of my books on a pirate website. Okay, I did. Someone had taken my books off of Amazon and had pirated them onto this other website, and I'm not known. Okay, so if they're doing that to me, they're doing that to everybody. And it's stealing. In my opinion, it's stealing. I didn't give you permission to take my words or to take my voice or anything like that, and I'm not getting paid for it either. I am not a fan of AI at all. I probably never will be. But it's going to be difficult down the road to know what's written by an author and what's written by AI. It's going to be hard to tell, and that's really very sad. I just find that really very sad. So don't like it.
Well, you
If
know,
you're not getting
we-
paid, how can you exist without AI then?
Nowadays, you really can't. I mean, in writing we can because AI doesn't need to tell a story. But like I gave my example of my car being able to talk to my phone type thing. That is AI right there. My car told me to tell my phone to tell me that my door is unlocked or my window is down or whatever. That is all artificial intelligence. I don't know what we're going to do about AI. I really don't. I see good sides and I see bad sides. What if we get AI that tells, our nuclear weapons to, go detonate? God forbid, we'll see where it's going to go. We'll just have to wait and see.
a lot of times when you go to websites and you go, like you looking for customer help, and that little chat is AI, and I had a semi-legal question. Irving would appreciate this. It was not for me, but someone had a kind of legal question, and I did the thing on the little chat, and then when it came to, they asked me questions, I answered them, and then it said, now would you like to speak to a lawyer? And then it's $5 or something, $25 to continue on. So I thought I was talking to a real help person the whole time. I was talking to the AI person.
AI person. Wow.
Well, I'll tell you something even funnier. I have a kid that's across the street. He's going to law school, and he's all the time walking in with the gadget. I tell him, well, you're going to flunk out of school. He told me everybody's using it. I said, well, guess what? You're not going to have a client when you graduate because they'll be listening to it also. How are you going to be able to sell anything if the businessman already knows the answer?
Exactly. I mean, you can buy anything on Amazon, anything. So yeah, I don't know where AI is going to take us or what it's going to do.
But it is, I think, I'm not sure of the age of everybody on this Zoom, but we're in the generation that most of us started out where computers were new. I mean, and we didn't grow up with all this stuff. They are so much more comfortable. The young generation, they don't even talk to each other anymore. It's all texting and like they don't even pick up the phone and make phone calls. I'll call my family and they says, just text us. I don't want to pick up the phone and answer. Just text me.
Exactly. My kids are the same way. I don't even bother trying to call. Okay. I just text them. And if it's an emergency, I text 911. Okay. Then they know to call me. But other than that, they don't pick up the phone if you I know. Deep breath. I will get through this. Mhm.
Absolutely true. Absolutely. Well, does anyone else have any questions, Marianne?
I'll
Anything else
tell
you'd like
you,
to add? Irving?
I'll tell you, your small town acted like all the drug dealers I knew.
They might pop
Probably
up
it was
in the street.
moonshine more,
Yeah.
right?
We have
Yeah, well, all
moonshine.
the money was put in the pipes.
Yeah.
In a
The,
divorce, which was more interesting than anything, the husband and wife were fighting over who buys the house because the money was in the pipes that was more valuable than the house. And eventually the judge was laughing his sides out. He said to me, "How did you get paid?" I said, "I took a check. Don't worry about it. I would not take cash because the IRS is coming in very shortly. And after I put the money in an escrow account, guess what? My bank dropped me because they thought I was money laundering." It is such a persistent thing, this criminal activity, that you have enough ideas to keep on writing forever. All you have to do is meet your next door neighbor.
Oh.
Everywhere.
That's very sad, but you're probably quite true. Quite true.
Because that's exactly what I thought of your book. They were all next door neighbors, all getting involved, and
Yeah.
all knew who it was and had to be. And the problem you had was how to get the money to the gambler. And
Exactly.
you couldn't figure it out because no estate can be settled for at least 6 months after you file your petition. And nobody's giving him cash, and he needed it in 3 days. And where was they going to get it if the store was closed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I found that a little difficult.
Well, it is fiction.
That's exactly what I thought.
It is fiction. I think if I think too much about some things, I overthink them, and then I end up with bigger plot holes. But yes, it's fiction. If you find a plot hole, I tried. It's fiction.
No, I enjoyed the book. I ran through it in 3 days, and my
Yeah.
wife was saying to me, "How come you're staying with this?" And she's trying to read it in 2 days. She's a fast reader, and I'm the slowest reader of all time. But
Thank you for reading. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
Is the whole plot with that moonshine, is that something that is a small town thing? Because when you think of moonshine, you're thinking of what's like prohibition. So it's still something that continued on.
sure,
My,
after
it
hours
does. It
after
does.
hours of drinking, you go to a place that's still open. In every one of these villages on Long Island, they have them. Don't make you, don't have any mistake that they don't exist.
They exist. My son asked me the same question, and I said, Ben, do you know where I got the idea for moonshine? One of your baseball games, okay? We were in Kentucky for one of his baseball games, and it was a Sunday morning, and one of the parents, we're from Illinois, wanted to know if they could get a beer somewhere. And one of the local people said, no, this is a dry county, but if you want, there's moonshine about 5 miles away. Swear to God. Swear to God. And this was 15 years ago. Yeah,
That's
Ben's 30,
all
about
over
15 years.
America.
Yeah, exactly.
All over.
It's all over. Appalachian, I think you can find moonshine pretty much all over the country. It is highly volatile though, too. You could set it on fire. Yeah. I don't recommend it. It's available, but I don't recommend it.
I guess
The best shaving cream.
the new level of moonshine would be the cannabis.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Cannabis growers.
I did read of a moonshine bar. I can't remember where I read it. I'd have to look at my notes. But somebody was making moonshine and flavoring it, like apple pie or bubble gum or something like that. I did read of a moonshine bar somewhere. I have to look at my notes, but it's out there. It's out there. Be wary.
Well, unless anyone has anything else, I'd like to thank you. So you're in Florida, so you're in the same time zone, right?
I'm on Eastern time. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
I'm in Florida.
Our last person was in London, I think, and she was doing it. By the time we finished, it was, what was it? Like 12:30 or 1:30 in the morning for her.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't
Bless
want
her.
to, yeah. So at least you're in the same time zone, so not
We're in the
that.
same time zone. Yep. Thank you all for having me. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. Thank you so much for reading my books. Thank you for having me. Stay safe and stay healthy, and don't be drinking that moonshine, people.
Thank you so much, Mary. And then we'll I'll keep in mind, maybe in 2026, if we're still doing this, we'll get in touch with you again.
Thank you. I would love to talk with you all again.